Well, that happened out of nowhere. You see the title. You know what I'm talking about. Karl Anthony Towns in the random middle of the night. Well, I can't say the middle of the night, but in the evening time, 10, 11 o'clock, Karl Anthony Towns gets traded from the Minnesota Timberwolves to the New York Knicks for Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, and a first round pick via Detroit. All of that is going for Karl Anthony Towns. What? Bro, I could not believe when I saw that. I saw it via Shams. Bobby Marks also tweeted it out. But that trade just came randomly in the dead of night. There's been nothing going on in the NBA for weeks now. The Olympics ended, then all the free agents were signed, and then it was just like it was nothing. If you're a fan of mine and you was wondering why I haven't been posting, it's because nothing's been going on. Nothing's been happening. There's nothing to report. There's nothing to discuss. It's just let's wait for media day and the starting training camp, which is, oh, by the way, in 2 days. I'm recording this on Saturday. Media day is 2 days away. Training camp starts October 1st. That's what, 3 days away. But hey, I'm back. Welcome back. Please don't forget to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. You know, let's get this video out to as many people as possible. Share this video with your friends and family. Follow me on my socials. It's in the description. Follow me on my socials. So first, let's start with the Minnesota Timberwolves side of it, because Karl Anthony Towns has been there 9 years. This is going to be his 10th season. Number 1 overall pick in 2015. He's been through many coaches. He's been through many front office changes. For many years in Karl Anthony Towns' career in the early stages, Minnesota was always in the news for something. Firing a head coach, letting go of a person, someone in the front office, a personnel guy in the front office. And for as good as Karl Anthony Towns was, he won Rookie of the Year and all that coming into the league, Minnesota didn't have that much success. And I feel like a lot of people were a little bit down on him. They had Andrew Wiggins the previous season, who they got from Cleveland, of course, in the Kevin Love trade. I feel like people were down on him, but not once. And I saw this report. Not once did Karl Anthony Towns request the trade. Through all the negativity from fans about not making the playoffs and whatnot, and all the changes that went on. Look, bro, they're still the owners are still fighting. A-Rod and his other partner are still fighting with Glenn Taylor. Like there's no clear ownership of the Minnesota Timberwolves right now. So it's not like the drama has ended. Still in year 9, he has to deal with the drama. Of course, he's not directly involved, but just the life of a Minnesota Timberwolf. He's been through it all, man. Bad playoffs series in 20, what was it? When was Jimmy Butler there? 2018. Then they make the playoffs 2 seasons ago. Gentlemen swept by Denver. And then people were looking at him like, hey, Karl Anthony Towns, when are you going to have a good playoff series? A good playoff run? Well, they drafted Anthony Edwards in 2020? He's now their number 1 option. He's a young superstar in the making, and they go on this run, and he plays well in that run. I got the stats right here. Throughout the entire playoff series, he averaged 19 and 9, shoot 46% from the field, 36% from 3, 85 from the line, and probably played his best defense in his life, honestly, in his NBA career at the very least. That Denver series, when Karl Anthony Towns is guarding Nikola Jokic and you have Rudy Gobert being able to be more of a help defender because he's on Rudy Gobert. No, he's not Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert is on Aaron Gordon. Like, a big reason why they were able to beat Denver when Denver seemed unbeatable for the last few years was because of Karl Anthony Towns' defense and their ability to play those two bigs and being able to shut down and slow down Jokic and the Nuggets offense. They had the formula, which is crazy. Now you trade away Karl Anthony Towns, who for a long time played center until Gobert came here, big body, 6'11", can shoot the ball and all that. You trade him away for Julius Randle, 6'8", 6'9", power forward. We'll get to him, of course, but they had a winning formula, and they just traded him away after all he's been through again. He was successful there. Like I know he may not have playoff success, but you look at his resume in 9 years, he has 4 All-Star appearances and 2 All-NBA appearances. Rookie of the Year, All Rookie First Team. That's pretty good. Since Garnett, there hasn't been a player like that. Since Garnett, it's been Kevin Love and Karl Anthony Towns. Now, obviously, Anthony Edwards is in that conversation too. But in terms of that kind of individual success for the team for a long time, it's Karl Anthony Towns as Kevin Love. So he's a damn good player, and he was a damn good player for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now they switch him, trade him to the New York Knicks. My first thought was they did it for money. They traded him for money. Karl Anthony Towns is on an expensive contract. This is going to be Anthony Edwards' 5th year in the league, which means he's going to start his rookie extension. A lot of money. He made All NBA, so he'll get the full max extension. Rudy Gobert has a lot of money on the books as well. So you got 3 guys making max or near max money, and obviously in today's CBA, you know that it's basically impossible to sustain over a long period of time. And you have these guys under contract for a long period of time. You have Jaden McDaniels, who signed a 5-year, 135 or something like that deal last offseason. Obviously, Mike Conley is there for a couple seasons. He's on a friendlier contract, but it's still money. It's not like it's $2 million. Like it's still a hefty chunk of change. So I just think that they're not trading Edwards. They're not trading Rudy Gobert. Naz Reid, who is their backup, the 6th man of the year, they're not trading him. And Nickeil Alexander-Walker, they're not trading him either. It's sort of like Karl Anthony Towns, although he's been there 9 seasons, has become the odd man out because they just can't keep this team together because it's way too expensive. You're going to probably be over the second apron, and you cannot be over the second apron in today's NBA. Honestly, today's NBA, probably 2 max slots possible. 2 max, that's it. And if you're a team like the Celtics, who obviously gave Jason Tatum the richest contract in NBA history, Jaylen Brown before that, they re-signed Holiday. They re-signed Derek White and extended Holiday and gave Porzingis an extension as well. So they're a team that's going to operate above the second aprons pretty soon. But they're a team their championship window is right now. They might be able to afford to be able to do that, especially since Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are both 27 years old. But that's not a winning formula for all NBA teams. You look at the Phoenix Suns. They have 3 max guys on their roster. You look at Philadelphia 76ers, who just signed Paul George to a max. Joel Embiid signed an extension. 3 years, 196? Tyrese Maxey just got a max extension. Like, you have a couple NBA teams who have a lot of guys making a lot of money, but they're going to be, those 3 teams that I just mentioned are going to be teams that I personally am going to look out for when it comes to how they're able to build their teams, because all 3 of those teams are trying to win championships right now. Boston is trying to win more championships. Joel Embiid, this is probably the best team he's had his entire career. Maybe that or the Jimmy Butler year. And then obviously Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns and Devin Booker and all of them, they're trying to win as well. Money. Very first thing that I thought of. So he goes to New York, a team that desperately needed a center. If you haven't heard, Mitchell Robinson is not going to be ready for the start of the season. They lost Isaiah Hartenstein in free agency. They obviously couldn't re-sign him. You saw how much money he's going to be making. They lose him. He goes to the Oklahoma City Thunder. They re-sign Precious Achiuwa, which is a fine center, but do you really want him as your starting center? You know, I know the Knicks were probably going to be a team to be looking for, like a Walker Kessler or a Jonas Valanciunas, just a center, because they didn't have any. It was a very weak point in their roster. Precious Achiuwa, obviously being the backup big for now until Mitchell Robinson comes back. Now, I did say Karl Anthony Towns did play a really good defense this past playoffs, especially in the Denver series. But he's not Mitchell Robinson on defense. He's not what Isaiah Hartenstein was on defense last season. And you know Tom Thibodeau likes to play with that kind of big man. A big man who can protect the rim and is great defensively. Like that's never been Karl Anthony Towns' game. He's never been that great of a defender. So they lose. They might have gained. They might have gained something offensively. But they definitely lose something defensively. On offense, I mean, you're getting a guy who averages 22, 23, 24 points per game, who can spread the floor, shoot the three. I want to say probably, he is the best shooting big in the league. Some people might come in and say Porzingis. No, Porzingis is a damn good shooter, but he's not as good of a shooter as Karl Anthony Towns. Karl Anthony Towns has probably been the best big man shooter in the NBA for a while. So you have Karl Anthony Towns on defense, be able to spread the floor. On offense, being able to spread the floor. He may be able to attack mismatches as well, down in the low post. The defense is going to be my real concern. Because, again, not that great a defender. In pick and roll, how will he be able to protect the rim? Because I don't think he's going to switch. They might switch 2 through 4 because they're going to have Bridges, maybe Josh Hart because DiVincenzo is out too. Maybe Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, and OG Anunoby. That might be that's gonna be your 2 through 4 spots. You might switch those. You don't want to be switching Brunson because people are gonna attack Brunson. I don't think you want to be switching from Karl Anthony Towns because if you get someone like who's a really fast guard, like Donovan Mitchell might be able to just get past him. And then who's gonna be protecting the rim? Nobody. So they're probably gonna be playing a lot of drop defense with Karl Anthony Towns, and Karl Anthony Towns has never been a rim protector. So I'm going to be interested in seeing Tom Thibodeau, who's been a very good defensive coach. That's what he's known for. How is he going to be playing defense with Karl Anthony Towns in the lineup? And how good can their defense be? You have good wing defenders, but Karl Anthony Towns, can he stop Joel Embiid? If he has to guard Giannis, can he stop Giannis? I'm going to be very interested. Bam Adebayo is someone also who he's going to be going up against. They do have a squad. Am I afraid as a Heat fan? Hell nah. I ain't afraid. But this definitely adds a big wrinkle to their team. They have spacing. They have even more spacing now. They haven't really had a spacing big man in this Jalen Brunson era. I don't think they have Isaiah Hartenstein, Mitchell Robinson. I don't think anybody, Nerlens Noel at some point. So this is the first time they're probably going to have a stretch big in a really, really long time, the New York Knicks. It's going to be interesting. On the other side, for the Minnesota Timberwolves, like I said, they were expensive. They needed to get rid of somebody. Karl Anthony Towns ended up being the guy. Julius Randle, I forget how much money he's making, but he's on the last year of his deal. Obviously, he was up for an extension. The Knicks, obviously, him not having an extension up to this point meant that he probably was gonna leave. So if you're gonna trade him, at least if he's gonna leave, you might as well trade him to get something back in value. So it's understandable from the Knicks' perspective in terms of trading Julius Randle, but he's on a cheaper contract. I think he's making like 29-30 million. Obviously, he's coming off a very serious shoulder injury, so we'll see how he plays. Obviously, they also get Dante DiVincenzo, who I think is a steal. They don't really have that much bench depth, in my opinion. I think a lot of pressure is probably going to be put on Rob Dillingham to see how much he can give this season. But now you have Dante DiVincenzo, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, to have two really good perimeter defenders coming off your bench when you already have two good perimeter defenders in your lineup in the backcourt in terms of Anthony Edwards and Mike Conley. Definitely a really good trade, in my opinion, for the Minnesota Timberwolves in terms of being able to get Dante DiVincenzo. I heard reports that, even though the Villanova Knicks were getting together, that he didn't like having a reduced role because he started Once they got rid of Quentin Grimes, he started. He was an amazing starter next to Jalen Brunson, being able to spread the floor and being able to defend at a high level on the perimeter. If he was gonna get a reduced role because they have Mikal Bridges, I understand. I get it. Villanova Knicks were not Nixon. They were not Nixon. I tell you that. But in terms of Julius Randle's role, obviously he is now the number 2 option. He's coming off a season where he had a good season. I feel like people forget that. He averaged 24 and 10. And I think people don't give him enough credit because you saw when they got OG Anunoby, they lost 3 games in the regular season. With OG Anunoby, they were like 19 and 3, 21 and 3, something crazy like that before OG got injured, of course. But Julius Randle can ball. He's a damn good player. He's been an All-Star 3 the last 4 seasons. How does he fit with Anthony Edwards now? It's going to be tough because Randle has never been a great shooter. He had one season, and it was his MIP season, where he shot 41% from 3. But every other year, he has not been a great shooter. He's also a high turnover guy. Karl Anthony Towns is also kind of a high turnover guy too, but so I don't really think it's much of a difference between those two in terms of turning the ball over. But he's a high turnover guy. 3.5 turnovers, I believe he averaged last season. But the shooting is the most important part. Karl Anthony Towns being as lethal of a shooter as he is, obviously helped if Anthony Edwards is running a pick and roll with Karl Anthony Towns or Mike Conley or any of their other ball handlers. Julius Randle, I don't think people respect him from 3. So now the spacing is going to be a little bit off because Gobert is not a shooter. We know that. Gobert is never going to be a shooter. How are they going to look on offense? Because you have to give him a ball. He's someone who needs the ball in his hands, but he's also coming off, again, having season-ending shoulder surgery. I don't even know if he's ready to play right now, to be honest. Last I heard, he wasn't. Randle can pass. He can create offense for himself. Obviously, he can score. But again, the shooting is such a big if for me because he's never been a great shooter. And you're trading away Karl Anthony Towns, who is a really, really good shooter, for a guy who, although he can score 24 just like Karl Anthony Towns, is not a high-volume shooter and turns the ball over. Now, he might be a better defender than him. He's big. He gets, averages around 9-10 rebounds a season. Obviously, you have Gobert there, so the rebounding shouldn't be an issue. The defense, if they have to play Denver again, can they replicate what they did last season? Can Julius Randle guard Nikola Jokic the same way Karl Anthony Towns guarded Nikola Jokic last season? That's going to be interesting. When they play Denver, if Isaiah Hartenstein, if he starts, I'm not sure if he's going to start, but if he starts, how are they going to guard the Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein lineups? But Minnesota, this is a big gamble. You're gambling on being able to re-sign Randle. You're gambling because you had the formula of having 3 bigs, 3 centers, being able to go up against the likes of Denver and maybe now the likes of Oklahoma City Thunder, but you traded your center for a smaller guy, but he's not like that much smaller. They could get off to a slow start, to be honest. I think both these teams could get off to a slow start. Maybe more the Minnesota Timberwolves because Julius Randle just is not gonna be just all-star Julius Randle again. And the Minnesota Timberwolves last season were 17th in offense. They were first in defense. They were 17th in offense. And I'm not sure how much Julius Randle is going to help their offense. Dante DiVincenzo is going to help. You know what I'm saying? He's going to help with his shooting. How much is Julius Randle going to help their offense? Their offense definitely got stagnant at times, especially at the end of games. And that was a problem all through last season. Even though they were able to make a really deep playoff run, sometimes their fourth quarter offense got stagnant because they were never a great offensive team last season. It's going to be interesting. If I had to say who won the trade, I don't know. I don't know yet. We're really going to have to see. We're going to have to see how Karl Anthony Towns meshes up with the Villanova Knicks. We're going to have to see how good Julius Randle is, and we're not going to know right away. It's going to take a while for him to look his best self. Can the Minnesota Timberwolves still play that level of defense? How good is Karl Anthony Towns gonna look defensively back with Tom Thibodeau in New York? We're gonna have to see. But this was crazy. This is a blockbuster trade. This is what you call a blockbuster trade right here. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. I will be back making videos because media day is coming. On Monday, training camp is about to start. Preseason is gonna start, and then the season's gonna start. NBA season low key is back right now. We in football season right now, and the baseball playoffs are gonna start. But we enter NBA territory right now. This is where I shine. This is my shining moment. You feel me? But let me know again what you think down below. Who won the trade? If you're a Knicks fan, let me know. If you're a Minnesota Timberwolves fan, let me know what you think down below. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.